Throughout all of Southeast Asian history, the Chinese diaspora has acted as the critical economic engine driving regional commerce. For centuries, Chinese trade routes crisscrossed the South China Sea and the Gulf of Siam, moving vast amounts of goods and capital. Yet, if we look closely at the map of early global trade, these vibrant maritime routes bypassed the interior of Cambodia almost entirely. This presents a historical contradiction. From the 9th to the 15th century, the Khmer Empire at Angkor was a massive, highly populated regional superpower. It should have been a prime target for foreign merchants. Despite its immense size and dominance, Angkor supported almost no resident Chinese population and virtually no foreign merchant class of any kind. The absence of Chinese merchants in Angkor suggests that their presence in Cambodia wasn't driven by migration patterns alone, but by something deeper in the country's economic design. We know this from the 1296 account of Chow Ta Guan, a Chinese emissary from the court of Tamul Khan who visited Angkor Thom. Chow's records show that Chinese sailors and traders knew of the empire and occasionally visited, but they rarely stayed to entrench themselves into the local society. The physical and social layout of Angkor explains why. This was not a bustling commercial city. It was a fortified area of intensive agriculture surrounding a cult center. The urban population consisted largely of slaves, retainers, and the ruling class, servicing a luxurious palace. There was absolutely no middle merchant tier. This missing merchant class reveals a fundamental difference in how the Angkorian economy actually functioned compared to its neighbors. The Khmer Empire operated as a unilateral agrarian economy, a system that behaved very differently from the trade-heavy states of the coast. This map illustrates the empire's climatological homogeneity. Regions produced identical crops, harvested simultaneously. With everyone producing the same surplus, internal trade was negligible. Instead, resources flowed in one direction. Heavy tribute moved strictly inward to the central deified king. The central government collected this immense wealth, but provided zero reciprocal economic or trading functions back to the regions in return. A closed, self-sufficient system with negligible internal trade simply possesses no economic void for a foreign merchant class to fill. That agrarian system eventually collapsed, and in 1434, a new capital was established at Phnom Penh. Situated at the confluence of 4 major rivers, the location forced the Khmer court to abandon self-sufficiency, depending heavily upon revenues from foreign trade. This abrupt shift created a massive economic vacuum. The native Khmer peasant, accustomed to the unilateral agrarian system, was entirely unequipped to handle international commerce. Foreign traders flowed in to fill this exact void. While Annamese and Malay merchants participated, the majority were Chinese. Their integration into the country was highly concrete. Chinese weights and measures, like the dough for measuring grain, were permanently adopted as the standard in the Cambodian economy. This chart displays the modern Khmer words for the multiples of 10, from 30 through 90. They are direct phonetic borrowings of their Cantonese equivalents. The shift to an interdependent market economy permanently embedded the Chinese diaspora into the structural and linguistic bedrock of Cambodia. Fast forward to the 1960s, and we see the long-term sociological result of this 500-year economic integration. The population became so deeply assimilated that defining exactly who constitutes the Chinese minority became a severe methodological problem for researchers. This graphic illustrates the problem. When researchers apply standard cultural criteria to define ethnicity here, the metric fails. The lines are too blurred. Sociologist Wilmot documented this relativity. A local shopkeeper might appear Chinese to a Khmer peasant, but Cambodian to a civil servant. Similarly, using bloodlines fails, as many descendants are fully assimilated into the Khmer majority. In highly integrated environments, standard metrics of culture and blood collapse. A different way to measure the population is required. To solve this, Wilmot developed a rigorous operational definition for counting the Chinese in Cambodia. He completely discarded self-identification and subjective cultural traits, choosing instead to define a person's ethnicity strictly through their structural participation. Under this model, an individual is defined as Chinese only if they actively participate in the community's voluntary associations, known as the Huiguan. This works because it measures a person's active alignment with the socio-economic community, rather than passive heritage. In Cambodia, Chinese functions as a measure of active participation in the socio-economic networks that first emerged when the